when we work, we also feel a sense of self-worth. So it shows the ability of a person to earn an income. Employment is something where the people involved in doing the economic activities that contribute towards gross national product. So the formula for calculating worker population ratio is total workers divided by total population into 100. Hello everyone, I am Nikilavati S, Faculty of Commerce, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. I welcome you all for the sessions on the subject Economics for first PUC. And today we will be discussing about a new chapter from Part B, that is Indian Economic Development, and the chapter name is Employment, Growth, Information and Other Issues. So in this chapter, we will be studying about the employment. What is employment? What are the different types of unemployment? As well as some information about how is India's economy and the economic condition, and not only that, the employment condition, worker population ratio of India, and some of the information related to its growth in various sectors. So when we say employment or a work, so the people do variety of work. Some work in farms, some work in shops, some people start their own business, some people work in factories, etc. So let us learn all about employment and different types of employment and various sectors in which the people can be employed, and also to know like why do people work. So in this session, we will be covering an introduction about employment, opportunities, growth. Then we'll be learning who are workers and what is employment. Then participation of people in employment, as well as self-employed and hired workers. So moving forward, let us learn what is employment. So before that, employment is a kind of work that is done by people. Right. So what is work? Why do people work? So people do a variety of work to earn livelihood. So here people work in farms, factories, banks, shops, etc. And some people also work from home. Particularly, this concept of work from home has been increased after COVID-19 pandemic. And we do work, or the people work because work provides us a earning for living. And it also provides a sense of self-worth. That means some people might have inherited, a good amount of money, property and assets. But when we work, we also feel a sense of self-worth. So it shows the ability of a person to earn an income, and it also contributes to national income. That means whatever the work and the income that we generate is going to contribute towards the national income of the country, that is the GDP, and social connections as well as responsibility. So it helps us to take social connections, build relationships, and not only that, take the responsibility of the family and our society and environment. Because earning an income gives a person the ability to fulfill his responsibilities. So what is employment? So employment generally means that activities that contribute to gross national product and that are called as economic activities. That means all people who are involved with economic activities can be called as workers. And employment is something where the people involved in doing the economic activities that contribute towards gross national product. So people engaged in these activities are considered as employed. So all those people who are involved in the economic activities can be called as employed. So worker, who is a worker? Anyone who is engaged in economic activity, whether high or low capacity, including farmers, factory workers, transporters, self-employed persons, helpers assisting main workers, all these can be called as workers. let us also learn about how is the employment condition in India. So particularly in from 2022 to 23, there are 545 million people working in India, and there are rural workers about 2/3 of the total workforce. Then gender composition. In this workforce, 77% are men and remaining 23% are women. And particularly when we divide it into rural versus urban, in rural areas, women form the 1/4 of the workforce, and in urban, women for 1/5 of the workforce. So this is regarding the employment condition in India. And when it comes to the worker population ratio, so what is the worker population ratio? So here the population, as we all know, it is the total number of people that are living in a country. But workers are those who are involved with the economic activities. So not all the population of the country will be involved in the economic activities. So what is the amount of those population or workers among the population? So here it's an indicator that is used to analyze the employment situation, and it shows the proportion of population actively contributing towards production of goods and services. So the formula for calculating worker population ratio is total workers divided by total population into 100. So we'll come to know what is the percentage of the population are in the workforce. So this is the formula for worker population ratio, that is total workers divided by total population into 100. Then what is the amount of worker population ratio in India? So on a national average, it is 41%. That means about 41 workers per 100 people are into some kind of employment. So in rural areas, the employment or worker population is 42%, and in urban areas, it is 38%. So what is the reason for this difference between rural areas and urban areas? So the main difference is that in rural area, there will be limited resources, early entry into workforce. So they will not be continuing for the higher education. So and fewer educational opportunities for the rural people. So sometimes they are forced to get into some kind of employment for earning a living and generating income for fulfilling the responsibilities. So but in urban area, there are more students in schools and colleges and wider job choices and delayed entry into work compared to rural areas. Apart from that, so let us learn what is self-employed and hired workers. So what is the difference between self-employed and hired workers? Who are self-employed workers? So here when we talk about the self-employed workers are those workers or people who start their own enterprises and they run the enterprises and they work in it. So they are self-employed. They are not working under any of the another employer. So here hired workers means these are the workers hired by the employers and they'll be getting wages in return. So let us take an example of a construction industry. So here there are 3 types of workers working in a construction industry. So in this, the self-employed, that means here for a construction you also need the cement. So the cement shop owner who provides the cement for that particular construction will be a self-employed. Whereas the construction workers who are actually doing the work of constructing are called as casual wage laborers. So they are the laborers, they work for wages on a daily basis. And here some of the regular salaried employees can be the civil engineer. So civil engineer will be appointed by that construction company to oversee the plan, design and the construction of that particular project or a building, etc. So this is self-employed and hired workers. Moving forward, gender-wise distribution of self-employed as well as like hired workers. So when we look at the self-employment, major source of livelihood for both men and women is like more than 50%. That means more than 50% of the women and men are into the self-employment. And when it comes to the casual wage workers, it is the second most important for women especially. And coming to the regular salaried jobs, so men amount to 24% and the women amounts to 17%. So the gap between men and women is very small when it comes to salaried jobs. But when it comes to casual wage laborers, majority of the women are into casual wage laborers, and more than the 50% of the population, both in men and women, have found that self-employment brings them or a good source of income and employment. So this was all regarding the employment, growth, opportunities, as well as some of the information about who are self-employed and who are hired workers, and who are workers, what is employment and all. So this was all for the today's session. Hope you all have understood. Thank you.